This is Groundeffected. Today I'm painting Tifa, sponsored video by Polymon Studio, something about your dad. These guys have got a serious fantasy section, but I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. For now, let's just start painting Tifa, shall we? So I 3D printed this model on my Uniformation GK3 Ultra and the Uniformation GK3T, which are the machines that are usually the ones that are used for these size models. Of course, once they are printed, they need to be cured, cleaned, all the rest of it, and then I can put them on sticks so that I can put a primer layer on them so that the rest of the paint will stick to the model. For so long when I started painting, I really didn't understand the concept of a underpainting color or anything that goes underneath the paint, because surely I'm just gonna paint over the top of everything, aren't I? Well, yes you are, and what you're kind of not thinking about, if you're thinking like that, is that paints are actually transparent. So this undercoat is so important. Leaving black where I left black and putting white on is not just haphazard. I'm doing this purposefully so that I can create shadows and highlights before I even start to create shadows and highlights. A good example is these boots. You can clearly see how the black in the shadows gives it a shadow already, because the red ink particularly doesn't cover everything. However, it does tint it, so it's, as long as it goes over the white. Oh my god, I'm running how to explain this. But just know that the undercoat is serious. Don't ever skip on the undercoat. Putting paint underneath paint is so important, and if you can get over this and figure it out, it will just make your painting life easier, quicker, and better, and you'll have better results. It's simple as that. Now, getting back to painting this model, of course, you can reinforce some of these shadows and tint them a little bit more using even more transparent paints, like for example that red wash, which I used to darken the shadow but also to tint it a bit more red so it wasn't as black. Speaking of black, her skirt needs to be black, but black on its own would be terrible, so I sprayed a green grey over the top to bring out some of the highlights, and then I sprayed black into the shadows because I put too many highlights on it. And then I put a glass clear, which wasn't glass, it was like semi-glass, to make it look a little bit more leathery. Now what you noticed on the base, which is going to be a grey rock by the way, I painted a reddy brown on the base first. This is kind of important because, like I said, these colors that are underneath colors, in this case, is slightly different because this color is kind of in between colors. But if I just painted it straight up gray, it would be a very boring and gray rock. And so adding that reddy brown in the in-between makes it look like maybe a bit of dirt, dust, whatever it is. However, the rock is not just a gray rock. It has got saturation and color to it. And not only that, but that is like a the two colors are opposing each other. One is warm, one is cool. It compositionally makes it look better. It's as simple as thus. Now, of course, there is a bunch of other things that need some dry brushing, like for example the metal canister on the base, and I also put quite a bit of the white highlight on those little pieces of wood that you see me now spraying the leather color over the top of that. And that is because I can do it this way. Instead of having to dry brush, again, all of the things, this is just so much easier for me to very carefully spray that spray over the top, and I can fix up if I make any oversprays, and then I can come in with a brighter or at least a lighter brown and then highlight all the areas that need to be highlighted. Because it's textured, it's easy to do something like that. I want to quickly explain to you the sponsor of this video while I carry on working on this base, and the sponsor for this video is Polymon Studios, and there is something a little bit unique about these guys. Yes, they are a Patreon, and they have a Patreon over on Patreon, and from as little as $15 a month, you can receive 3 full-scale statues, as well as 3 high-quality busts. But the fun doesn't stop there. If you go in one of the higher tiers, then you will also receive an additional 3 statues from their legacy drop, and I'm just going to let you guys know that these guys had a welcome pack at some point where you got the Sinister 6, by the way, the best Sinister 6 I've ever seen, but that's not actually what they wanted me to tell you about. It was their fantasy line, and they produce something a little bit different to others. What they do, their main differential from their Patreon to others, is that they build a complete collection over the months. Instead of doing random monthly drops, and that their main collection, the Fantasy Collection, is currently 25% off across all their stores. So if you are interested in fantasy stuff, this is a Patreon for you to go and check out. But equally, if you like the nostalgic gaming and superhero stuff, they do those too, and very well, might I add. And while we're adding stuff, I just want to add here that they don't only just have Patreon. There is a CG Trader, a Gumroad, so there is no excuse for any of you who say, oh, I don't want to subscribe to Patreon. Don't. Just go look up their freaking links and go and support the dudes, because they make some incredible work. And now, as we are talking about the model again now, I want to just say that for metal pieces, a lot of the times, I think that people get confused, right? And they seem to think that it needs to be shiny. I prefer using a dark silver, because in this case, it doesn't stand out too much, but it still fully stands out because of the metallic flakes in the paint, but also because it's a slightly different color to what's on the model already. But equally, if you go darker, you can go lighter on a highlight later. You cannot go back. Well, you can go back, but it's much harder to go back than it is to keep going brighter on specifically metallic pieces. The skin tones on this model are treated very simply. I used literally 3 layers. I think it was 3 layers. It was okay, it's much more then, because I used the pink, then the red, obviously the white underneath that, plus the black underneath that, so that's now 4, and then I used, okay, it definitely wasn't 3 layers, but after doing the pink and the red layers, it was literally 3 layers. I used a medium skin tone. I then put in the orcish dermis into the shadows to bring the pinks back before I did the highlights, and now I'm literally just doing the highlights with one of the brighter skin tones, and that's it. There ain't too much involved in this particular skin tone, and I feel like even though it's not that much going on, it's still an effective way to do something like this is kind of skin tone. There isn't too much of it showing all over the place, so I don't need to be too crazy with it. And I feel like this is just an easy way of getting away with not having to do too much work. After painting the socks, I took some brown rose and I thinned that quite a bit and sprayed it over the top of the black in the highlighted areas of the muscles, and this just helps to create a bit of depth and definition on the socks, because I'm unsure whether they're stockings or socks. And so this way, if they're socks, it's got a highlight, and if they're stockings, everybody's gonna go, oh, look at the skin tone sticking through, fantastic. See? Cheating. Cheating is a way of making things work. Honestly, there is no cheating when it comes to art. As long as it looks good, that's the most important thing. And speaking of cheating, this is kind of another area I sort of cheated. I guess some people would say that I cheated because I didn't do any masking for the shirt or the black areas on the shirt. I just really hate masking. I couldn't even tell you how much I actually hate it. It's so much. It's that much. And so I just choose to work the way that I do. But what I want you to notice is the order in which I did things. I painted the skin tones because those needed all of the work done in the highlights and the gradients and things, right? After that, I then painted a solid deck tan over the top of the shirt, and I sprayed carefully with a very light grey underneath, but this meant I was missing all of the stuff that I had sprayed before, and then I can come back and tighten everything up using the black. And this way, it's like magic. It's almost like I did a whole load of shading work without having to do too much extra work. And imagine if I had to mask that. That would add an extra 2 minutes onto doing something. And I don't have time. It would be way more than 2 minutes, by the way. This is exactly why I don't mask. So, there you go. Also, never mind. You might pull off some of the paint, or you might... It's just a nightmare. I hate masking, and that's why I paint the way that I do. But equally, it works. The hands were fairly simple on this model. I literally just painted a black undercoat over everything that was meant to be obviously black, because that's what you do when you're painting things. I then took a brown and I painted that over the straps, which are supposedly holding on the little claws that she's wearing on her hands. Obviously, once those are painted, I need to deal with the claws, and to deal with them, I just took that dark silver. This is important to me, I think, that you do not take a new metallic color for this, because you're kind of trying to create some harmony between all the colors that you're using on your model. This is called your color palette, and it's important to work with a palette that actually makes sense with each color that is inside of that palette. It's way too much thinking, genuinely, for art, but it's one of those things that I think people just don't really give artists credit for, is the fact that all of these things are thought about. And as you get better at doing it, you don't have to think as much. So if you are a new artist, don't be daunted by the fact that someone like me has more information than you. It's just because I have more experience, and as you get more experience, so you learn quicker tricks and things that just kind of stick in your brain, that become almost a second nature. And all this harmonization and analogus and all the rest of those fancy words that artists seem to use for describing color schemes, they will just become more natural as you get a little bit further into your artistic career as such. But very importantly, don't even worry about that. Just know that all I'm saying is try to keep some kind of consistency between the colors that you're using. Don't just randomly keep choosing a new color every time you try to paint a different part on the model. Just because you want the hands to have a silver piece, but all the buttons you want, don't think that you can literally paint the same color. That's all I'm trying to say. And this creates the harmony, and this is what you see in my pieces all the time. It's time to paint the eyes, and I made a little mistake. I started painting the whites first, which I think is dumb, because if you paint the black lines first and then paint the whites, if you make any mistake with the black, you can tighten it up with the whites if you need to later on. However, it's harder to kind of paint that thin little black line over the eyelid. Like, it's tiny, bro. So to paint that little line is difficult, and that's why I prefer to paint the black first and then the whites. Now, from what I know about Tifa, her eyes are actually red, so I painted a brown first, which I don't know why I chose to do that, but I figured that was the way to do it, because I didn't want them to be too red. Of course, they would look a little bit demonic like, and so I painted brown first, then a little red spot on the inside of that, and then obviously the black spot for the pupil. Then I put a white highlight, which is a specular one, a big one on the one side and a small one on the other. I then can put gloss on the lips and also inside of the eyeballs themselves, and then I can put the head on this model and call this one done. So we've come to the end of yet another Groundeffected video, and I really hope that something in this video stood out to you. Maybe it changed the way that you do something. Maybe it gave you some insights into how to make your own hobby a little bit easier, better, quicker, whatever it is that you are looking for. I hope that you found it in this video. Of course, very importantly, I want to thank the sponsors of this video, which is Polymine Studio. There is description in the link in the description. Check it out down below. And also, thank you to the patrons. Without the patrons, they wouldn't be able to have the lights blinding my eyeballs. Well, I wouldn't have the light. I'm really ruining the end of this video. Doesn't matter. This is the part where I tell you thank you for everything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. If you think someone might get some information out this video, well, share it to them. And if you don't think they will, then just share it with your granny, share it with your auntie, share it with your mom. Just share the video. That really helps to get views for me, and views for me means I might feel like I'm a little bit more popular than I actually am, and I might make another video. Well, I'm gonna make another video anyway, it doesn't matter. Either way, click the like button, click subscribe, wash your hands after the toilet, and if you don't like anything you saw in the video, this seems like your problem and not mine, and now you should f*** off.